Your local view on WYCU LDTV 26, serving Charlestown, New Hampshire, the Dartmouth Lake Sunapee region, and central Vermont.
Coming up tonight on YCU, Vermont lawmakers want to change training requirements statewide on stun guns for police use. Should your employer have the right to ask for your Facebook password? Some New Hampshire representatives don't agree and have proposed a bill to fight it. And could the Granite State be lucky enough to get one casino? We'll have the inside look into the future of New Hampshire gambling here in the 603. With more news, sports, and weather, stay tuned. It's time for YCU, your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth Lake Sunapee region and central Vermont. News, sports, weather, public affairs, and all that's happening in our area. The news on YCU, your local view.
Welcome to your Wednesday edition of YCU. I'm David Carmichael. McAdam Mason was a father of three suffering from a mental health episode when a senior Vermont State Trooper tased him during a confrontation at his Thetford home. The shock killed him, and 30 lawmakers are now co-sponsoring a bill that would establish a statewide policy on training requirements for stun guns. State police require general stun gun training for all officers carrying the weapon. They're supposed to undergo mental health training as well, but at the time of Mason's death, only a quarter of the troopers completed it. Protocols at local police departments vary even more. Lawmakers say that the bill has tripartisan support in the House. They are hoping that it will go into effect in July. The Lebanon Police Department announced the formation of a crisis intervention team. On February 1st, 10 members of the Lebanon Police Department concluded a week-long training in crisis intervention. This specialized training gives the department a group of officers who can respond to and actively engage with individuals who may or may not be in a crisis due to a mental health issue. It provides specially trained officers the ability to respond immediately to crisis calls and better understand what is needed. This understanding allows the officers to focus on de-escalating the event and directing the person to proper treatment rather than into the criminal justice system. The three major tenets of CIT are to identify, de-escalate, and divert. New Hampshire is considering joining a number of other states to bar employers from asking job applicants for their social media usernames and passwords. Prospective employers can ask a lot of questions during the hiring process, but should they be asking for your password to your Facebook account? Representative Catherine Rogers is co-sponsoring a bill that would make a person's social media account off limits to employers. Several states have passed similar laws and many others are considering such legislation. But some employers, such as the New Hampshire State Police, say that Facebook and other social media sites provide effective tools in vetting applicants. New Hampshire's House is again voting whether to bar employers from negotiating contracts with unions that collect administrative fees from non-union workers. The House votes today on the bill. New Hampshire labor leaders, workers, and community members oppose the bill, introduced by former House Speaker William O'Brien, but supporters argue it is wrong to force workers to pay fees as a condition of employment, even if it is part of a collective bargaining agreement negotiated between workers and their employers. Governor John Lynch vetoed a similar bill in 2011. Beer, wine, and guns drew a crowd in the Vermont State House cafeteria last night at the Vermont Federation of Sportsmen's Club's annual legislative mixer, a social atmosphere to discuss a seriously controversial topic, gun control. A recent bill proposed in the Vermont House seeks to limit magazine capacity and require background checks for all gun sales, something the sportsmen do not support. One of the bill's co-sponsors, Representative Tom Stevens, was in attendance. Though Stevens says he has respect for the sportsmen and their culture, he has not changed his support for the bill. The Vermont Senate has taken an unusual vote not to reject a bill to allow doctors to prescribe lethal medication to terminally ill patients requesting to end their lives. Now senators are ready to debate whether to pass the measure. The Senate voted 17-13 yesterday to reject a recommendation from the Judiciary Committee that would defeat the measure, variously called end-of-life choices or physician-assisted suicide. That means that the bill will stay alive and will be up for preliminary approval today, and if it clears that hurdle, final passage tomorrow before moving into the House. Oregon and Washington have passed similar measures by referendum. Passage in Montpelier would make Vermont the first state to do so by legislation. Springfield Hospital will soon be celebrating its 100th anniversary, and to honor this milestone, a new history exhibit is now open to the public on level 3 at the new Springfield Health Center. Planning for the Springfield Hospital began in 1913 with the first building opening for patients in March of 1914. The hospital was located on Mount Vernon Street. It had an operating room, 12 beds, and 3 bassinets. The new history exhibit displays some of the hospital's original furnishings that have been generously donated by community members, along with other early medical paraphernalia such as the stethoscope and blood pressure machine. Visitors of all ages will also enjoy viewing the historic photographs of the hospital co-founders, nurses, and treatment rooms. After the break, we have a very exciting interview with the owner of the Junction Frame Shop in White River.
The YCU News continues in a moment.